Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Innocence Lost. The Obama administration is again dabbling in sex education for children by issuing a statement through the Office of Health and Human Services that labels children as, quote, sexual beings. FoxNews.com reports that on its website, HHS says, quote, children are human beings and therefore sexual beings. It's hard for parents to acknowledge this, just as it's hard for kids to think of their parents as sexually active. But even infants have curiosity about their own bodies, which is healthy and normal, end quote. In its advice to parents about sexual education, the HHS goes on to say that children may, quote, experiment with homosexuality as a means of, quote, exploring their own sexuality, and that self-abuse is a completely normal activity. You can read the full story by Fox News on our resource page by clicking the link right over here. Attempts to indoctrinate the young into the sexual revolution continue with homosexual porn curriculum. Shakespeare and Homer have been replaced in high schools, and the required reading now includes graphic sexual material. FoxNews.com reports a public school district in New Jersey is apologizing to parents for requiring them to read the books, quote, Norwegian Wood and Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamines. The books depict in detail a lesbian sex scene between a 30-year-old and a 13-year-old and a homosexual orgy, respectively. But it gets worse, as apparently the books were reportedly also requirements for middle schoolers. Please read the full story on our resource page by clicking the link right over here. Pedophilia as normal. A recent conference for pedophilia activists is marshaling sexually disordered activism for its next takeover, the legalization of pedophilia. Liberty Counsel Action, an international nonprofit litigation group, says, quote, these mental health professionals and self-described pedophile and gay activists were inexplicably able to cavalierly discuss in an almost dismissive way the idea of child rape, end quote. Speakers at the conference proclaimed that children are not, quote, inherently unable to consent to sex with an adult, and that pedophiles have, quote, feelings for love and romance for children in the same way that adults feel about each other. You may remember the hosts of the conference, an organization called Before You Act, are working on getting pedophilia removed from the American Psychological Association's Manual of Mental Disorders, following the pattern of homosexual activists' plot to legalize same-sex marriage. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
Controversial consultant. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops is currently listing a homosexual rights activist as one of its chief consultants. John Sweeney, President Emeritus of the AFL-CIO, has been opposing the American bishops' position and efforts to fight the homosexual agenda since at least 2001, but has been kept on as a consultant for policy matters since 2000, according to LifeSite News. Despite his outspoken positions against church teaching, Sweeney is currently listed on the USCCB's website as a consultant for the controversial Committee on Justice and Human Development. LifeSite News says the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops was not available for comment. You can read the full story on our resource page by clicking on the link right outside the screen. World Youth Day complements economy. Contrary to claims made by socialists and atheist activists, World Youth Day gave a depressed Spanish economy a tremendous shot in the arm. The president of Madrid's House of Commerce said pilgrims from all over the world injected almost $230 million into hotels, transportation services, and other businesses in the Madrid area. Almost 2,500 restaurants in the nation's capital accepted meal tickets distributed to pilgrims as an agreement between the Hotel Business Industry Association and the Spanish Conference of Catholic Bishops, which contributed a solid $32 million as well. World Youth Day this year will hopefully serve as a bright beacon of Catholicism in a nation struggling to revive its faith. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael comes to us from London. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us, and as always, God bless you.